Hey there, where you going? No, man, you got the right classroom. Come on in, take a seat beside me, my friend. Hey, look, here come T.A. Charlie. Let's see what he got to say.
Hey, Charlie, Charlie,
Yes.
Charlie, before you get going, I've been watching the comment section. The privates are thinking again.
Oh, no.
You know what type of day it's going to be already. Carry on.
Well, welcome to the Road to Concord with Professor Joe Bakanovic. Yep. Homeroom is on Rumble. Just go to Rumble. Rumble. You search the channels for the Road to Concord. It's one word. When you find it, you go ahead and you click follow. Might mean you got to set up an account, but it's fast, it's easy, it's free. I did it. You can do it. Even a private can do it. For those technologically challenged members of the class, we've made it a lot simpler. You can catch us on Facebook and YouTube. We did away with all the other stuff. So after the show, it's uploaded to Podbean, iHeartRadio, and Spotify for our, one person that we always forget about. Just look for the Road to Concord. You can go to the blog page. That's the roadtoconcord.com. That's where you find all your show notes, handouts, and all that homework for your class. The phone is working. If you don't know how to call in, that's your problem, but you could email us and ask us about it. Finally, you can email a professor at joe@theroadtoconcord.com. He's a little slow. He's got 2 emails to check now. So, be patient with him. Yeah. Well, joe@theroadtoconcord.com and admin at We Who Are Lost. So now you got 2 you got to keep up with. Yeah. See, you got 2 you got to keep up with. You. He's a Marine. This show is currently mainly listener sponsored, and we don't know why you do it, but we do appreciate you doing it. If you are interested in advertising your business on the show, we don't know why, but you could email us and we'll give you information. We'll figure out something. With that said, we do ask for your participation on a value for value basis. If you find our show of value to you, then you provide an equivalent portion of your labor and treasure through the donate link on the Road to Concord blog page, the show description on Rumble, and in the comments on the other streams. And thank you to all of you who do support this show, because we wouldn't be here without you.
Hey, we all know T.A. Charlie isn't all there. Now, just stay seated and give it a chance. You'll soon realize we not might be the smartest, but we each independently form opinions based on reason and logic. We're free thinkers. Let's see what the Road to Concord with Professor Joe Bakanovic has on the lesson plan for today.
I'm going to have to talk to that tortoise, man. He eats independently. Anyway. Don't get me going. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Monday, right? Manic Monday. Great. Figures. Hello, McFly. Is anybody home today? Title of the show today: Elon, DOGE, the BBB, big beautiful bill, or right? Third parties and Trump. Look, man, I don't know how else to put this for you, but got something I want to share with you real quick. I don't know if you're going to know the reference, but here we go. This is Zorg from the movie The Fifth Element. Toward the end of the movie, he says, "I know this music." Folks, I mean, come on. How many times are we going to have to go through this little dance, this political charade that we're currently playing right now with? I've seen this now. It goes back to the 80s. I'm tired of this dance. Let's talk about the supposed big, beautiful bill first for a second. Okay. First of all, we're told that we had to pass the bill or all these tax cuts are going to expire and we're going to get the biggest tax increase in the history of the country. If I'm not mistaken, and I may be, but if I'm not mistaken, those tax cuts were initiated under Trump 45 with the GOP. So why were those tax cuts written in such a way that they would eventually expire? Why was this bill written to have a auto-destruct button in it to begin with? That's a good question. And I'd like that addressed. I would like somebody in the Republican Party to tell me why it is that they wrote the bill so that the taxes would come back eventually anyhow. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that if it was a Democrats, I'd be like, well, Democrats don't ever cut taxes. So I'm making an assumption here because I didn't bother looking it up, but I'm pretty sure that we're dealing with a Republican, booby trap, time bomb. So eventually these taxes, and I know why they would do it. Get more Republicans elected. Because, if you don't, then the taxes come back. Taxes that we could have gotten rid of permanently by writing a bill that gets rid of them permanently. Didn't do that. So we have to pass this supposed big, beautiful bill or the taxes are going to come back. Well, did passing the bill get rid of them or just extend the tax breaks? From my understanding, from what I'm hearing, all it does is extend them again. So the big, beautiful bill just punted the time bomb down, put a few more years on the time bomb. That's not big and beautiful. That's I don't get this. The best parts of that bill, from what I've understood, were taken out by a quote unquote parliamentarian, a Democratic parliamentarian. Well, I've got questions for you now. Is the bill legal? Probably, even though it was put together by people other than Congress. But okay, the bill's probably legal. But what I want to know is, why didn't the Republican-controlled Senate stick those provisions back in the bill? I'm sorry, if you're a Republican voter or if you're MAGA, I am absolutely, positively done with your party baiting and switching with me all the time. You tell me what you're going to do, and then you don't do it, and you always find a way to blame it on Democrats, and your answer is always, I need more Republicans. What good does it do for me to send more what you guys call rhinos? Oh, well, he wasn't a real or she wasn't a real Republican. Yes, they were. They had R after their name. They're in the Republican Party. They are real Republicans. I'm tired of this. Your party is schizophrenic. It's got a serious mental disorder. I am not pro-Democrat. Those people are deranged. They're depraved. They have been given over to their depravity. They have become animals. And yes, I said animals. But you're no better in the Republican Party. You're heading down the same road. You're just a couple, well, heck, in some cases, you're right there with them. You don't even realize it. I'm sorry, but I can't see this as anything other than Trump needed his win. So the big, beautiful bill is called a big, beautiful bill. Well, that's typical Trumpism. Give it a nickname, make the name sound bad if you don't like the thing or the person. Make it sound good if you do. This is all about Trump getting his win. Well, what did the American people win? From what I understand, we're spending more money in this than we've ever spent before. And that's what got Elon ticked off. You know why? From what I've been able to understand, it's because all those DOGE cuts, the Republicans put them right back in everything, with the continuing resolution. So all that money is right back in the budgets. Nothing was cut. You have the House and the Senate, Republicans. We don't have a very big margin. I'm tired of this. If it was the Democrats, they would vote in lockstep. They would only need to have the vice president in the Senate. They could have 50-50 of the VP, and they only need one person more in the House, and they would get their agenda passed. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me third time, shame on me. Fourth time, more shame on me. Fifth time, how many times are we going to do this with you guys in the GOP? And then you're going to give me all sorts of excuses. And I know I'm going to lose the audience here with this, but I'm sorry. It's got to be addressed, man. What are you fixing? So Elon. Now I'm being told that Elon was never popular. DOGE was. Okay, then why don't I hear about DOGE anymore? Where are all the DOGE stories? Okay, well, I know that the media is controlled, even conservative media. I understand MK Ultra and Mockingbird, and if you think that the right-wing media isn't under the control of Mockingbird, you don't understand MK Ultra. But where's all the hype about what DOGE is doing? Has DOGE discovered much anything else since Elon left? Elon was making sure it got publicized on X. He had a voice. He was doing it. It's probably where you learned about most of these cuts. So he's seeing just how much waste and fraud and corruption is in our government. And everybody was loving him while he was rooting it out and showing the people where the money was going. He was a hero then. And I know he was. I remember the polls. It was Elon. And now we're being told, oh, well, Elon was never that popular. Folks, Elon was campaigning with Trump. He was a big part of why people voted for Trump. You're telling me he was never that spin? There's that MK Ultra and Mockingbird garbage. I'm tired of this, man. I'm not falling for it anymore. You're not going to gaslight me anymore. So he finds all this fraud, and now because he's upset that you didn't do anything with it, Republicans, you just put it right back into place. We'll get to it next time when we have even more Republicans. You're not going to get any more. I'm not voting for you ever again. I'm not voting for an R ever again. I'll never vote D. I never have. But if it's got an R on its name, even if it's DeSantis or something like that, I'm sorry, you're not getting my vote. I'm done with your party. I'm tired of beating my head on a wall and getting nothing but bloodier. You do not ever do the things that you say you're going to do. Trump, this is you too. And I don't say president. You are not the president anymore. You gave that to the Supreme Court. It still resides with this. Well, Joe, we won. No, you didn't. The Supreme Court allowed him to do things under certain conditions for a certain amount of time for these specific cases. And he even said the Supreme Court let us. When the president has to go hat in hand begging the Supreme Court to let him do his executive duties, to let them decide where they have absolutely no authority to decide, he has handed the presidency to the Supreme Court. That's exactly what the progressives have wanted all along. His name is Donald Roosevelt, as in Teddy Roosevelt, Donald Roosevelt, or Teddy Trump, however you want to do it. He's a progressive. He's not conservative. Never has been. He doesn't even know what conservatism is. He's not ideological. So Musk comes along, and Musk is not necessarily politically ideological either. He's just like, you're bankrupting the country. Stop. Well, I've heard since Rush Limbaugh that we've got to stop this crap. So you get a man who finds the corruption for you, and he tells you stop, and what do? You're an evil villain. Why? Because you're going against our hero, Cheeto Jesus. I don't get this. So then he says, I'm going to start a third party. Folks, in reality, it's a second party. You've got a uniparty, and anybody who cannot see that is blind. They're politically blind. So we have a uniparty, and that's why you don't have 3 and 4 and 5 parties in this country. You can have a uniparty with 2 parties. They just pretend to be 2 parties. They're actually one. But if you have 3, then you have a harder time actually controlling that actual second party. It's probably why they're there. So Elon, for those of you who are too young, you're not going to remember this, but we're going to go back to Ross Perot with George H.W. Bush. And we're going to be told, well, that's the reason George H.W. Bush lost. No. The reason George H.W. Bush lost was because of George H.W. Bush. If he was actually representing his voters, there would have been no reason for Ross Perot. So Republicans, don't blame that on Ross Perot. Blame it on your candidate. You chose and handed your party a bad candidate. a liar. Read my lips. No new taxes. Oh, well, I got to give you taxes now so I can bring in the new world order. The 1,000 points of light. If you're not old enough, you're not going to remember any of this stuff. I'm old enough to remember it. I lived through it. I'm not going to get gaslighted. I have a fairly decent memory for these things. So every time, and then also Ross Perot, they asked him why he dropped out of the race in the part trying to start his own party. And he said that President Bush was threatening his daughters. And I never believed that back then because Rush told me it wasn't true until I started looking into it. I don't know whether or not it's true. Did you hear me? I don't know. I do know that I have found reports that, if they can be trusted, do suggest that H.W. Bush was threatening Ross Perot's daughters. Now, H.W. Bush, he's certainly above that. I mean, he never had anything in his history that would suggest he might use coercive force against somebody. I mean, he was only the head of the CIA. Oh, wait a minute. That means he would use coercive force. Oh, oops. Point to Mr. Perot. So now that Elon's doing it, this is where I've heard this music before. Now he's an enemy. Now he's evil. Now he's going to take votes from the conservatives. No, he's not. He's only going to take principled votes. He's going to take the principled people away from the GOP. The drones, the people who can only see Cheeto Jesus, they're going to stay with Trump no matter what. So, just real quick, we've got this story. Studio's falling apart. Don't worry. We're all right. Incoming. We still got plenty of bunker over our heads. Yeah, shade fell down off the lighting. Oh, well, don't worry about it. We got this story from the Gateway Pundit. It says President Trump blasts Elon Musk for launching a new political party. It says it's going to be a train wreck that will only create chaos. Okay, well, I remember something. We're going to hate, we hate Elon right now, right? We hate him because he's going to harm the Republican Party. Party über alles. Oh, yeah, that means party over everything. Yeah, I thought that was a Democratic thing, party über alles. Oh, apparently it's a progressive thing, right or left wing. So now it's okay to attack Elon, and we're going to Trump has even said we might have to look into deporting him. You know, when we were told that Trump is going to go after his enemies and he's going to get all ugly with this and political, MAGA said, no, he won't do that. He'll use the law. Well, how is it lawful to unnaturalize a citizen? He went through the legal process to become a naturalized citizen. He's now a citizen. How do you take his citizenship away just because you don't like his politics? That's the whole purpose he came here for. Since when does a conservative side with a president that plays those games? I thought a conservative was supposed to believe in the founding fathers' ideals. No, you don't. You are conserving what you've gained. You are right-wing progressivism. You're Teddy Roosevelt progressivism. You're okay with censorship as long as you censor the people you don't like. Now, I remember, Elon's the enemy now, but I remember this. Do you remember this? He was cheered for this. This is rational right. This is a right-wing thread. Trump suggests he may run on third-party ticket in 2024. Former President Trump has last week hinted that he'll hand grenade the 2024 presidential election for Republicans by running as a third-party candidate. And in the story, it says, do you think he'll win? No, he probably won't. But why would he do this? Because he realizes that the uniparty, this is the rational right, calling it a uniparty, they can't control Trump, so they think. But when Trump was thinking about starting a third party, everybody, yeah, back up, let's go Donald. Now that Elon's going to do it, because he's upset with your Cheeto Jesus not actually being a principled individual, Elon's an enemy. I know the sound of this music. I know this music. This is the progressive dance. I've seen Democrats do this all the time, but it wasn't until 1994, fall of 1994, when I started to wake up to the fact that the Republicans are doing the same dang thing. They're just more sophisticated at it, because they actually do have a more sophisticated audience. I'm sorry, lefties, but your audience are fill in the blank. Now I've got this thing with illegal aliens. Trump's going to kick out all the illegals, unless, of course, they work for farmers or maybe, you know, the hotels and restaurants, hospitality industry. So you're really not after the illegal aliens. You're just after political showmanship. You know, make America great again. Miracle, miracle, USA, USA. You're not principled. That's why I did a show on principles not too long ago. Ideology. Well, the problem is Trump is principled, and he does have an ideology. His ideology is Trump. His principles are whatever makes him look good, brings him accolades, or gets back at his enemies. I don't know what to do with this. I know that I am going to be ticking off MAGA people. Oh my God, they may never listen to me again. I told you I voted for Trump, and I did. And I told you why. I told you I was going to vote for it on the outside chance that he was actually what he appears to be. He's been in office now for, what, 7 months? Not even. And he's starting to show signs that he is not what he claimed to be. I should have known better. Probably did know better. If you're illegal, you're illegal. You need to go. I don't care if you've been here 20 days or 20 years. You need to be kicked out and never allowed back in, not even through the legal process. You've already showed me you do not respect the laws of this land. I want you gone. I don't care what color your skin is. If you've illegally gotten here from the whitest white, from Ireland, one of the whitest white nations in the world, I don't care. Go home, never come back. You broke the law. I don't want that mentality, that type of character in my country, because you already got 1 foot down the slippery slope. You'll rationalize anything and everything.
But Joe, what about the babies that were brought here and they didn't have that choice, and now they're grown up and they don't have any choice, and they can't do nothing because they don't even have a birth certificate or
to
anything.
Quote a poem, look into my eye.
You were so cruel.
Yes, because that's what the law says I have to do. It's also a principle of maintaining your nation. So, okay, let your children stay. I'm going to kick mom and dad out anyhow, so now you've made an orphan. Well, then you got to let the parents stay so you're not cruel. See, that's the problem. You're arguing with emotion. I've told you before, I'm broken. This is one of the places where my brokenness is a good thing. I can see the numbers here. I'm probably preaching to 1, maybe 2 people right now. I don't care.
I think you have 6 right now.
Okay, 6.
Of course, but 3 of them.
That counts. 3 of them are us.
Yeah, 3 of them is us.
This has got to be discussed. This is how we got here, because nobody can face the hard stuff anymore. Where's the right wing? Where's the GOP's discernment? Why can they not understand that what I'm saying, it's a valid complaint? Why don't they see it? And then, like with Trump's ongoing submission to the courts and to the Occupy, Antifa, BLM, anti-ICE, pro-Palestinian rioters, that's all organized, man. And did you notice that as soon as he said he was going to go after their funding, they disappeared? So he dropped the subject. Why? Hunt them to ground and eliminate them. They're illegal. They're acting illegally. Chase them down and eradicate them. No, as long as they quit being a thorn in his side, he's done. He lets that go. How about all these people who are cutting law enforcement? Folks, if you're going to cut the budgets for law enforcement and you're going to allow attacks on law enforcement, well, first of all, no wonder law enforcement's going to turn against the people. Look what you're doing. You're the one voting for the people doing this. So the police are going to look at you as being the enemy, and rightfully so. But that's illegal. That's one of the primary jobs of the government, is to enforce the laws against the lawless. And if you're going to do away with that, if you're going to do away with the sword, then government has handed the sword back to the people. Now the government is telling you you're free to be a vigilante again. But now you're not going to be a vigilante because there's no more government to handle this. Now you're back in the law of nature and you are operating under the right of self-defense. But then they'll come get you. Trump actually has the authority to end this stuff. If you elect a communist in New York, let's say a mayor of New York City, and the governor of New York does not remove him, and yes, a governor has the authority to remove a mayor, or at least in my state they do, then Trump does have the authority to remove that mayor, because the states are guaranteed a Republican government. Socialism is democratic, not Republican, by definition. Because he's not ideological, Trump doesn't even understand any of this. At least doesn't show any signs that he does. Doesn't show any signs that he cares about any of this. Voter fraud, systemic voter fraud. We've got proof of that now. We've got a bill, they're proposing a bill so that illegals cannot vote in a U.S. election. Folks, that's already illegal. Why do we need a bill on top of a bill? It's already illegal for an illegal to vote in a U.S. election. That's like saying, hey, I'm in Russia and China. I need you to send me my mail-in ballot. Well, no, you don't get that. You're not a U.S. Oh. That's being allowed. Any state government that is allowing this needs to be removed because it's no longer Republican. The Constitution guarantees the states a Republican government. Remove the governors and the entire party apparatus that supported that governor. The whole party needs to be outlawed because it supports that platform. The Fed setting economic policy. It's unconstitutional, but we passed a law. It's an unconstitutional law. Did anybody amend the Constitution to take away Congress's duty to regulate national monetary policy and fiscal matters? No. Said, well, but the Constitution says Congress can do whatever's necessary to get that done, so we gave it to the Fed. No! It says Congress has to do it. Whatever's necessary for Congress to get it done. Well, apparently now Congress can't change anything without the Fed doing it for them. Which means we can't even read English anymore. We don't even understand the logic within our own language. Then we're going to go out and use the military without a declaration of war. There was a time in my life where I would have been all about bombing Iran, but not anymore. Not now that I've understood why I was wrong. Folks, MAGA has all the earmarks of a cult of personality. It's not the first time I've said it. It's just like all of Obama's cultic supporters. The right, they were correct. The people following Obama, they're a cult. Yes. Well, we're following Trump. We're not a cult. Why? Well, because we're us. Oh, that's a real good reason. I've seen this game before. I've seen this music. I know it. I know history. I remember it. I recognize it. It's even been in my own warnings about people on the left. Now that it's happening on the right, Can't get anybody to listen. My own friends attack me over this. People I've known for 20 years. Comment on the board from Aaron Spikes. This says law enforcement needs to stand up more for the rights of the people. Many laws on the books take away people's natural rights. Yes, but law enforcement is part of the problem now. The people are the problem, Mr. Spikes. Here, let me show you part of what I'm talking about. From Gateway Pundit. Let's see if I can get this to go up. Breaking, new FBI memo concludes that Jeffrey Epstein did not have a client list and committed suicide with video of jail cell. I thought the cameras were broken. And I thought there was a client list. I mean, after all, if Jeffrey Epstein, this is another story on the Gateway Pundit, if Jeffrey Epstein had no client list, then why did AG Pam Bondi tell reporters that the list is, quote, sitting on my desk right now to review? That's in the process of being reviewed. So she lied to the American people. Why hasn't she been fired by Trump? And then there's this. This is even more damning. Gateway Pundit. Wait, what? If there was no Epstein client list, then why did the New York court refuse the Gateway Pundit's legal request for the list based on an anonymous, quote unquote, John Doe who was on the list? Did the court lie? Because if that's the case, the court violated the law. There's a list. I have no doubt there's a list. And I was told that there is there's no video over and over again. I was told there's no video by people like Patel and Bongino. And now they're telling me that there's no that there is a video and it shows that he hung himself and that there is no client list. I don't believe that. Not for a moment. Can I prove it in a court of law? No. Does reason guided by experience tell me there's a list? You dang tootin' it does. Because Epstein's connected directly to the CIA. He was recruited by, I can't remember his name anymore, but one of the guys who was running the investigation into Trump and concludes he was innocent, but doesn't announce anything until after the election's over. It was that idiot's father. I mean, there's so much nepotism going on in the deep state. The CIA doesn't ever run operations like this without keeping detailed notes. The whole purpose of the organization and the operation is to get blackmail on the people they want to control. I mean, the Diddy trial. You really think he's innocent? And he's going to walk for the most part. They can't afford for this to get exposed. And by that, I mean the entire system, all of it. There's probably maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 innocent people in the whole of the federal, elected government up there in DC. If that many. I don't believe this. I no longer trust Patel or Bongino. I now think that they've been lying to me this whole time. I now suspect that they're part of an MK Ultra Mockingbird operation. Even if they weren't consciously aware of it. I don't trust them anymore. I don't. Russiagate. We now know that was all. We've known for the whole time that was a fake story. Nobody's arrested. Fauci COVID. Now that we know that was all fake. Nobody's been arrested. Who's been cuffed over the DOGE corruption that's been exposed? Nobody. At the very least, all these people that were collecting fraudulent Social Security, why don't the recipients, why haven't they been rounded up and arrested? Nobody. Election fraud cases across the country, nobody arrested. Hunter's laptop lies, nobody arrested. The AutoPen scandal. My God, people, that's treason at the highest level. Nobody arrested. Why? Oh, well, it takes time to put a case together. I am so sick and tired of that. They didn't have a case. They arrested Trump, or they tried. That's not how cases work. You get enough to charge, and then you put the case together while you're holding them in jail. Natasha says, I still wonder why Diddy was exposed to some degree. Distraction, perhaps? That or he did something that the controlling party didn't want him to do. And he was being punished. told who's boss. Gonna be a short show today, because I'm going to end with this. I've realized that Steve Deace is right. This has never been a country of law. That's a fiction. It's always been a country of political will. Man always rules by political will. That's a bad thing. The founding fathers said this is an experiment to see if man can rule himself, both internally and as in a society. The answer is no. We've proven that. The answer is no. So what do we do now? I had an email from a friend of mine. He's a listener. For the most part, he's our one podcaster. He asked me, he says, why don't you do a show that starts telling people how to live in this environment, what to do with it? I'm going to write him back. I'm going to tell him the problem is that this is a heart issue. It's the heart of the American people. And I've been giving you the solutions to that for as long as this show has been on the air. It was always on Wednesdays. Now it's on our other channel on Wednesdays and Fridays. And nobody wants to hear that answer. It's the solution that led to this country's existence. The founding fathers said so. They said it. They said that that's what caused this country. I guess they're idiots. They don't know what they were doing or what they were thinking or why they were doing anything that they were doing. They're just a bunch of dumb knuckleheads. We should never listen to them. What do they know? By the way, I'm not the only one yelling about this. General Mike Flynn drops a memo demanding Trump administration make arrests in the Russiagate treason scandal. We the people are fed up. Amen, amen, and amen, General Flynn. You know, he was one of the victims of all of this. His life was destroyed, even though he did nothing illegal. The system didn't protect him. The system railroaded him. What are the people to do when all the rulers and laws are unrighteous? You've only got one place left to run if you're a righteous person. Back to the source of our natural rights, according to the founders, the Creator. And in their mind, that was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You go anywhere else, you're whistling past the graveyard. Charlie, that's all I wanted to say today.
Well, for the 3 or 4 people here, I guess that'll do.
We had more when we started until they realized where I was going to go with this.
Well, and I was thinking the whole time, because I know someone else that has, they just started a political podcast. I'm not going to mention who it is or whatever, but they're one of the MAGA people, and MAGA, and I'm tempted to send this show to him. I mean, he probably would, just have a total breakdown. Because
I thought only the snowflakes reacted emotionally to the truth.
If you look at this logically and truthfully, there is no other conclusion, because I'm the same way. I voted for Trump this time, hesitantly, and hoping like you did, plus the alternative was not good either. But I've always had, in fact, the first time Trump ran, I did not vote for him, because I didn't trust him, because when I looked at his history, he was a Democrat and in Democrat circles his entire life, but supposedly he had this epiphany and magically became a Republican overnight and became a conservative, ideologically based person. I don't think so. I haven't seen evidence of that, and there's now, has Yahweh put him in the place that he's at? Probably so.
Yeah.
Probably
I have no doubt
so.
that.
And has he done certain things that gives those who are trying to follow the right way time to get their stuff together, because once he's gone, look out, people. Look
Katie,
out, people.
bar the door.
Katie bar, that's right. Katie bar the door, because this
it won't
country's
matter.
done.
Yeah.
This country's done. I mean, we're just, we're hanging from it. Oh, I better not say that. That would be a Mormon flag.
Yeah, dead nation walking.
Constitution hanging by a thread. Have you heard that from Glenn Beck before?
Yeah, that's a Mormon.
And, by the way, the Mormon elders are not going to come and rescue this nation.
No.
There's nothing left to rescue. We're done. So, like you said, there's only one place to run, and that's you got to fly with the eagle to the wilderness and be taken care of for a little while.
If I were an officer on the political battlefield right now in this country, I'd probably stick my head up out of the hole and listen to the left and listen to the right, and I'd get on the horn and I'd yell "broken arrow."
Yeah.
Most of y'all, you may not. Broken arrow means something different to you in the Air Force than it did to us.
It does.
It means that you've lost a nuke.
Well, yeah, that's what a broken arrow. Yes, broken arrow.
That's not on the ground.
Force.
No. On the ground forces, it means you've been overrun.
Mm.
And you're in danger of losing. On my. Oh, yes. It means bring down the rain on my position, because it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. I don't know how to make this better, folks. I've been yelling my head off since at least 2006, 2007, when I finally figured out what was going on. Nobody's going to listen. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you what the problem is. You see this on the road. Let's use driving. Here's the illustration. Charlie, hang on. Stay where you're at. So you're driving down the road and you're yelling at all of these drivers that are doing crazy things that they shouldn't be doing. I've noticed people who will even change lanes in the middle of an intersection. They're under the light, changing lanes. Mm-hmm. They don't use blinkers. I had a guy just the other day. My wife and I are driving down the road. We're in the inside lane because this guy driving a pickup truck with a full-size couch in the back, precariously tied on. It wasn't really strapped in. He's got a right blinker on, and he's going slow in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. He's going kind of like in the high 50s. And just as we're about to come up to pass him, he just does a left-hand turn into the median right in front of us. I didn't have to hit the brakes because luckily enough, I could swerve. There was nobody behind us. I knew that. I just changed places with him. Otherwise, we'd have hit him. He just right in front of us. And I've been thinking lately, why do people do this? It's narcissism. It's narcissism. You don't see anybody else around you but yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was taught that, like, I'll see people that are
oblivious to any. I cannot stand going to Walmart because people are blocking the aisles, just oblivious to everything
they'll park
around
right there
them.
And do their business. Yes.
And it's like,
but going back to the driving, I was taught if you miss your intersection or you miss the turn, you got to go down, turn around, and come back and do it the right way.
Yes.
Nowadays,
thank you. Yes.
People will they're in the right-hand turn lane. Oh, I needed to go left. They'll just right in front of everybody, right through the middle of the intersection.
And whatever happened to the word
narcissism.
Merge. You know what merge means now? If the lane's running out, I'm coming into your lane whether you want me to or not. If I have to sideswipe you, I'm coming in. I have done that. Where they've luckily, lucky for them, I don't have my beater truck anymore because
yes. But folks, it's narcissism. It's so involved with self. And how many people have you seen going down the road with their cell phones? And they can't drive. They think they're driving. They're not. They're creating a problem. You can't get your butt out of the fast lane, the passing lane, because, I'm doing 67 in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. That's fast enough so the people behind me can just wait. Dude,
or you're in a left turn lane that's backed up all the way because it's rush hour, and somebody's sitting there after the lights turned And,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just sitting there for, about 10 seconds before, oh, geez, cars are moving around me. They're sitting in there and playing on their cell phones.
So I've been thinking about this, and some of you will understand exactly where I'm going to go with this. There will come a time where they will be nothing but lovers of self.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, because they become lovers of self, their love will grow cold and they will be turned over to their own depravity.
Mm.
And then if you knit that with Peter and Jude, they're animals good for nothing but to be led to the slaughter.
To the slaughter. Yeah. Mm. In the days of Noah.
Where everybody does what they think's right.
Mm.
Well, actually, in the days of Noah, there was nobody righteous. Nobody
but there
doing
was,
what
there was
supposed
one
to be done. Except one. So I don't know. If you're looking for me for answers on how to handle this, I got nothing other than if my people who are called by my name will repent and seek my face. Everybody wants the land healed, but everybody wants to ignore the conditional. If then. In logic, you have to fulfill the condition of the if before you get the results of the then. We need to repent. Repent does not mean feel sorry and be guilty about. It means to change your ways. That hurts. That's painful. It requires work.
We don't want to work anymore. We just want our cake and circuses, as Aaron says.
Look, if you're one of the few people sticking with us today, the one thing the one thing I can promise you, because we can see the numbers, the one thing I will promise you here on this show, you may not agree with me. I will never tell you anything I don't believe. And I will always tell you what I am thinking. Sometimes I have to veil it more than usual, but today, country music show, 3 chords and the truth right between your eyes. Old country, Hank Williams Jr. country. I mean, Hank Williams, rather, country, not Junior. But even he was pretty good with that if you listen to his music. But until you can admit the problem, you can't fix it. Isn't that what they tell recovering addicts? Until you can admit the problem, you can't fix it?
Yeah, got to admit it first. And then you got to take responsibility for it. That's the part people don't want to do.
Is addicted to government taking care of its problems.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
Congratulations. You've taken the mark of the beast. Bible doesn't say that. Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It
yep.
does.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand the prophetic language, that's exactly what it means.
Good point.
How do I fix that?
I
don't know. I can only fix that in myself and influence it in my sphere of influence. That's all I can do. And I can do things like choosing not to hang out around people who are cancerous to my mental and emotional and spiritual health.
Yeah.
But that would require sometimes that you lose friends or maybe even family members.
Mm.
I know about a passage that says that too.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, unfortunately.
But
that's the way it goes.
In our day and age, we have the Christian faith where everything's sunshine and roses and everybody's going to be rich and life is easy and nobody undergoes tribulation because God's people wouldn't be judged. Even though none of that's in the scriptures. Matter of fact, scriptures say the opposite. Judgment starts at the house of Yahweh. And if you're going to follow his son, in this world, you will have tribulations. The Messiah's people changed the world and culminated in the foundation of the United States of America. We took what he gave us and we've thrown it away. Exactly like the Israelites did coming out of Egypt. They took what was handed to them, threw it away, and begged for a king. So they were given kings, and eventually they were given a righteous king in David, and his son took it and threw it away. The whole purpose of human history is to teach us that we cannot govern ourselves, that we need him to govern for us.
Yep.
And that only works when you submit to your king. How's your spiritual warfare going? I'm done. I got nothing else.
Yeah.
On a happier note, Wednesday's show on We Who Are Lost is going to be about what the Bible actually says about hell.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
Teaching class rather than an interview.
I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. And I may have some questions for you.
Line them up, Jack. Because I'm not going to tell you I know all the answers. I just know the concept that's running through Scripture. And that's how I'm trying to figure it out myself.
And if y'all out there, the few of you that are left listening, have questions, you can email them in ahead of time if you'd like to give them a chance to prepare, or you can just, post them during the show, or you can even call in because the phones are on Wednesday and Friday. We don't announce it, but they are there, and it's there.
I was causing Natasha to have emotional nightmares. I said on a happier note, and I jumped to hell, and she's like, I can hear the bee booping in the background now.
Yeah.
Folks, we actually do love you. We do. And we wouldn't be talking. See, that's the thing. Agape love, a true love, a godlike love doesn't run from the truth. I've told you since day one on this program that I want to look the monster in the face. Now, if I had answers, I'd give them to you.
The truth is ugly sometimes.
Yep. I have no answers other than to cling to my faith. So that's all I can urge you to do in return. And I can understand if you're without faith. Oh my God. I understand the rise, the spikes in suicide rates now. I get it. I understand it. I don't have that problem. That's just me. But I can sympathize with those who have struggled with that. I get it. And I have a brother who's of the faith, and he struggles with that. My heart goes out to people, but I'm broken, folks. I don't feel things the same way you do. I care. I'm not a sociopath or a psychopath or anything like that. It's just, if it's true, it's true. Don't argue with it. I mean, there ain't no sense trying to jump off a building and flap your wings convinced you're going to fly. Well, if I got enough faith, I can make a mountain move. Yeah, if you understand what that means, that was referring to like Martin Luther King Jr. He had the faith that he could fix things in this country, and he made a mountain. He made a nation, a kingdom, a government move. He did. That's what that passage means. But you're not going to be able to make Yahweh's laws not Yahweh's laws. And I just accept this. It says, what if my faith goes against some of the laws of man? Well, Yeshua told you how to deal with that too. You have to submit to the laws of man right up until the point where they tell you to do things that are blasphemous and go against Yahweh. Render unto Caesar what's Caesar's.
Yep.
Of course, he lived in a different time where Caesar allowed them to at least worship their Elohim, their God. We can't even do that anymore. Ultimately, the kingdom is restored through the blood of martyrs. Hey, it's the world we live in. Not going to give you much of an exit here today. Just going to tell you we do love you. We do care about you. We thank you for being here. You can share this show if you like. Very few people are going to listen to it. The left might like it, eat it up. If they ever get a hold of it, let me tell you right now. When I started this show saying that the left is depraved and they're animals, I meant that. I stand by that. You've lost your humanity. You've lost your reason. You don't recognize truth even when it runs over you, backs up and hits you again. I don't want to hear about your compassion. It's false compassion. If you are on the political left right now, you are so narcissistic that there's no saving you, short of the Holy Spirit reaching into your life, grabbing hold of you and smacking you around. So don't think I'm your ally. I'm not. That's why I don't address you very often. Why am I being so harsh with the right? In the hope that a couple of you might hear this show and wake up to the truth of what I'm saying. And it is true. I can back it up with history. Hopefully, maybe that you'll wake up too. It's not a political solution, but I've never offered you that right here, because I don't know that there is one. History tells me we have to be wiped clean and start again. There's nothing left to start again with in this country. There's nowhere left to go. There are no new people groups. We're at the end game. Just that's where we're at. So do with this show what you will. I'll be back next Monday. I'll probably be talking about corporations, the Constitution, just because I just want to talk about ideals and principles of how the government should have been handled and how it solves our problems to just stick to an ideal and a principle. That's what this show's about. It's too late to do anything with it, but it's educational and entertaining at the same time in a way that people get something out of it. When I do shows like today, all I get is hate mail. And all you do when you do that is tell me that I'm right on target. Speaking the truth as I know and understand it, unflinchingly, even if it costs me my life. Because if you're ashamed of him before men, he'll be ashamed of you before the Father. And he is the truth with a capital T. Love you. We'll see y'all Wednesday if you join us. Goodbye.